Okay. So the homework's due will be posted on Blackboard, and you guys haven't seen it yet because I haven't had any due yet.
Yeah, I was aware of
You
that.
know,
I know you said nothing due till after the ad drop period, so I was like, I know we
yeah,
still have time, but just looking at the Ignium site,
Ignithium stuff. Yeah,
Ignitheum, yeah, it doesn't say, it just says take now on all of them.
yeah. And so when and if you go through and you can, like I said, you guys can go ahead and work on the math one that we already talked about, and that's open and available. But if you go there and you answer a few questions and then you click on the My Grades tab, I think it also includes the timestamp there, but you'll see there's like a detailed record that tells you, your answer and what the correct answer was. And obviously, um, if they match closely, we do dollars and cents, so we're really looking at 2-digit precision, which is pretty easy to get. I explained in the
Yeah.
prior thing that I widen it a little bit when I do grades at the very end, but you really want to try to be precise. But you'll be able to see. But I also think it might include, the record might include the timestamp. So I normally will say things like, it's open now and it's due by 11:59 a.m. Or p.m. on a certain date.
Okay.
And then as long as it's timestamped before that, you're good. And even with that kind of thing, because I get the record at the end, if it's really close, I don't worry about it. But yeah, there won't be any surprises. You won't be like, oh, I didn't know this was due. So
Okay.
that'll be fun. Yeah. And just to let you know, I was going to let you guys know, and I went and I checked, but right now, and they're not due right now, but assignments 1, 2, and 3 are available. I checked and made sure there are available. So if you were to begin working, you did all the way to the math one, and the first one is demand, and the second one is supply. You can work on all of those, and you're not going to like lose your answers. It's not going to be dumped or anything. So you can work on assignments 1, 2, and 3, and those would be the first assignments that are going to be due after the due date. So if you're or after the drop date. So if you're thinking about it, our drop date, I think is a Friday, it might be a Thursday, but anyway, there's an intervening weekend and then like next Tuesday. So assignments 1, 2, and 3 will, what I'm planning is to say, as soon as we get past the drop date, that they're going to be due. And maybe I even posted, today or sometime. They're going to be due on Monday of next week at 11:59. So that's the plan. Okay. Are there other general questions? Anybody? Okay. So I'll go ahead and I'll go to Ignithium now. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Professor. Yeah, I cannot click the assignment, like click the continue button. So it come back to the account. Is my website mistake, or is
Well,
we didn't open that yet?
I'll tell you what, June. That's a good question, but it's very specific to you. So let's go ahead and talk about the other stuff we're going to talk about, not like general questions like when does stuff do, whatever. That's kind of like for everybody. But at the end, when we wrap things up here today, I'll save a little bit of time. I don't think we're going to go a whole hour, and then we can talk about individual questions. Okay. So we'll talk about that just a bit sure. Okay. So this is practice assignment number 2. And if you were to go, if I go under home and I go to the homework quiz, you'll notice they're exactly the same questions. It's just different numbers. Okay. And that's by design. Like I said, almost all of the actual homework questions at least in the beginning part of the course, they'll have a practice question that's identical again, so you can practice before you take the quiz.
Yeah, but you said as we move through the semester, they'll become less like that, right?
Yeah,
I remember.
right,
Okay,
right.
just one. Yeah, I did watch
Yeah.
the first video. I just didn't catch the due date thing and
Yeah,
whatnot,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Okay.
They'll be, well, and as you would think, right, as we
Yeah.
get a little bit further on, there'll be a little bit more responsibility in that area on your guys' side. But I still try to pick like a variety so that most of the ones that you get on the actual quiz aren't a total mystery. That's meaning like you don't have any basis for you know, kind of getting a foothold. That's the general idea. Yeah, so you know something. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these questions on demand. And so what I try to do, or what I'm going to try to do on most of these lectures, like it's kind of a little bit like office hours, but the ones that are live, is to give you guys a chance to talk about the homeworks and focus on that, and less on the lecture, which is, you know, the material itself is recorded and the playlist is available, and then obviously you have the reading, and so I'll try to focus here on actually talking about some of the problems. So let's go ahead and take a look at question number 1. And let's see. So this is a pretty straightforward question. It says at what price will buyers stop purchasing the good? And I'm going to go ahead and do the other thing that I told you guys that I would do, which is, let me, there's my YouTube channel. I'm going to open up another tab of Econ 1. And I'm going to go to the homework quiz section so we can get a little calculator if we need it to interpret some of the feedback. So I'm just answering this so I can get the calculator. Okay. So we're back here. At what price will the buyer stop purchasing the good? And let's see, I'll see who's in my window. And so Marcus, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Okay, so you want to help us out with this one?
Would they stop at 17?
Okay, so why did you think 17?
Because there's no more, I guess, demand.
Okay, but that's down here on the axis. This is the quantity. It says at what price?
Oh, oops. All right, 100.
Okay, so you say 100, right? And again, all of these questions are designed so you can grab information off of the graphs. Sometimes you have to like calculate something, but actually look here at 0, right? If I go to that point,
All right.
it says demand hits 0 units at 105, right? So you were close. So I give you a little clap. But the right answer is 105. It's that point right there. Once the price hits 105, demand drops to 0. If it was a little bit lower, like there's 104, they're buying fractions of a unit, right? Okay, is that good, Marcus?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. And by the way, if there's something, and I'll put you, Mitchell, you were talking to me earlier, since you're in the chat. If somebody,
Yes.
If somebody pops up a question in chat, because I can have it all up at the same time, let me know, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
So now this one says, at a price of 40, like I said, these equations are just like, you know, general information. You don't have to know them. You can pull it all off of the graphs. So it says at a price of 40, how much will buyers purchase. And Tony, are you with us, Tony Chin?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think? At a price of 40, what does it look like to you?
Would it be 25?
Okay, yeah, so I go here to 40, and then I go over and yeah, 25 units exactly. So let's see. Oh, okay, so now the feedback is just a calculation, right? Because this is what is being computed on the back end to get the answer, because again, the numbers are all random. So the computer doesn't know that the answer is 25, it has to compute it. So it gives me this feedback. So I go here to the calculator and I calculate it like the computer would, and I get the answer. Do you see, Tony, what I did?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so congratulations, you got the answer right. And we were able to verify it. You're welcome. Okay, so this one says, how much does the quantity demanded change? So you have to read these kind of carefully, right? When the price changes from 25 to 35. How about Brian Garcia? How are you doing this morning? Or
good, and yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. So what do you think? Can you see on the graph 25?
I could see the graph, but would you mind like putting the cursor
Yeah,
on the 25?
Yeah. Okay, so I go here, 25 is about right there. Let's see. So that's 27, 26, 25.
It'd be 28.33 for the 25. And then now we have to see the $35 mark. 35, yeah, okay. So
I'm glad you asked, because this is exactly what you should be doing at home. So, oh, there's 52. I got to go down to 35, 40, 38. Okay. Oh, yeah. And so now here's 25. So at $35.
So if it's asking for the quantity demanded change, would it just be the difference of the 28.33 and the 25?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Okay.
So
what, would I write the whole number, or would I put 28.33 minus 25?
You know, you would write the whole number, because that's what it's gonna.
Okay.
It's asking you for the change.
Be 3.33, I believe.
Yeah. So, but look here carefully, right? So you're starting out at 25, which is 28.33, and you're going to 35, right? So the change is actually a reduction, right? So you're losing, what is it, like 3.33 units?
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's see. So you write it down. So at 35, we're at 25, and at 25, let's see, because we got to be precise here. Yeah. 28.33. So that is, we're losing 3.33, right?
Because we're going from 25 to 35. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I did it reversed. I did from 35 to 25, since that was the first one I went to. Yeah,
and you know, now what I just showed you was right. It's a reduction in the quantity, which should be a negative number. So let's see what Ignithium does. Hopefully, there's our negative number. And you can see, actually, right, 10 divided by 3, it is going to be minus 3.33, but I'll just verify it with the calculator over here. And I'm going to delete that and paste that. Okay. Good job.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So yeah, so this is an important thing. You know, a lot of these questions will require some, subtlety and some detail. So if you're close, and this is why you can do the practice before you actually go to the quiz, to make sure you're interpreting the question properly. and you know, in this case, a quantity reduction is represented by a negative number. And if you do that, again, go through the practice first before you go to the actual quiz, then there's no chance that you'll, you know, slightly misunderstand the question. Because, you know, right here, you know, change is sort of ambiguous, right? And I don't know, because again, the numbers are random, if sometimes these might switch and it might be 35 to 25, in which case it would be a positive number. So you got to be kind of careful, maybe try the practice a couple different times. And then remember, when you go to the homework, if you end up getting a question that you don't like, you can just reload the page and it'll give you a different question. And as long as you haven't responded to that question on the quiz, it takes, you know, it's a quiz, so it's first response is the one that's scored. But as long as you haven't, you know, responded to it, then you can, you know, refresh and you know, get a version that you like. Now, I want to tell you also that you know, the universe of possibilities is generally pretty big. So I kind of don't think that you'll have much luck if you try to like refresh it to get an identical one to the one that's on the practice. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't think that strategy will likely work out very well. Anyway,
if you refresh the page on a homework quiz, will it take away all your answers that you put?
Okay. So this is the thing. So check it out. We'll play with it a little bit. So I think I responded to that one. I'll just we're gonna put random responses in here. I'll put like 222. You see that for number 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna hit submit, and I didn't get it right. You know, it gives me the feedback, whatever. And now I'm gonna go, this is homework quiz tomorrow. I'm gonna go to my grades, right? And I'm gonna go to details and see I responded to number 3 there, and it recorded it on that instance of that problem, that version, right? Now, if I go back to the homework quiz, now since I went off the page to check it, all the stuff's going to be different. But oh, actually, I just back browsered in and saved it, so that's fine. But if I refresh, then look, the answer's gone, right? But I can't resubmit because it's already been recorded under my grades, right? So it is the first response, and it's not the best of. It's not like you can like erase them and do it again, and erase them and do it again. So you know, before you answer a question, you can refresh as many times as you like, and you know, get a version that you're comfortable with, and that's really helpful in some cases. And I'll get a chance to show you guys a little bit later in the course. But there are some graphs that sometimes end up looking goofy, again, because they're random. And what I mean by that is that the graph is like really compressed in the area you want to look at. So it's hard to see, okay, am I on this point or that point? They're just all really tight. And when that happens, what I recommend is just refresh until you get a graph that looks nice, and then answer that one, because it just makes it easier. Okay. So I'll go back to this one. So I have something that's open, and let's go to our next problem. So this one is pretty easy. It's like what we did before. It says, let the market demand be blah, blah, blah. At a price of 30, what is the quantity demanded? And let's see. How about Ryan Benoit? You here? Ryan? Okay, I don't hear Ryan. How about Christine Zaidan? Christine?
What was the question?
Okay, at a price of 30, what is the quantity demanded? What does it look like to you?
About 35.
Okay, so you go, yeah, you go over here to 30, right? And then you go over and
it's like 35-ish.
Yeah, so, oh, that's not.
34, I guess.
Yeah, so it says 34.5 units at $30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really close. So let's put 34.5 and I'll hit submit and then I get this, right? But again, the computer, this is what it's computing on the back, doesn't know. So let's see. There, Christine, good job.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. So, okay. So now we get into stuff that's just a little bit more interesting. It says, let the market demand be given by this for an inferior good, which of the following could cause the shift depicted? Now, I'm not going to answer this one for you all, right? I'm just going to point out that notice that you have, and by the way, this is kind of cool too, which you can do is, so it says demand is in red, and then there's the shifted demand. So let's see, Adrian Galvan, you here?
Hi, Professor.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good. Pretty good. Pretty good. So I want to point this out to you. So okay, I can click on this and get rid of it, and that's my original demand, right? And because it's asking me the shift depicted. So if I do that, you can kind of see the shift coming in, right? Do you know what kind of a shift that is? Is that an increase in demand or a decrease in demand?
I would say increase.
Yeah, it's an increase. And I talk about this in lecture, but it's really useful when you're first learning. And this applies to every case in the whole class except for one. And I don't want to talk about the one case where this doesn't work. But you should think of demand as either shifting to the right, which is an increase, or shifting to the left, which is a decrease. And this happens to be a rightward shift. I don't know if on this problem you can get a leftward shift, but sometimes that can happen. One version of the question will be a rightward shift, the other one will be a leftward shift, and the answers are different. So just beware. But this is an increase in demand, and the way we know that is that if you pick a particular price, so here you see the price is $81. Can you see that, Adrian? So there's $81, and at a price of $81, I have 17 units. But then once demand shifts at $81, if I go right, I can see the let me go to 81. Yeah, see the quantity is bigger. Before it was 17 units demanded at $81. Now, after the shift, there are more units demanded. It's 27 units. So a rightward shift is always an increase, and a leftward shift is always a decrease. And guess what? The other thing that's nice about remembering that, and you can write it down, is that it works for both supply and demand. So a rightward shift in supply is an increase in supply, and a leftward shift in supply is a decrease in supply. Now, that may not sound very useful initially, but trust me, that if you can always know graphically going to the right is an increase and going to the left is a decrease, then it'll save you some hassle later on interpreting some questions. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to answer this question for you guys because it's in the lecture videos when we start to talk about demand and the things that can shift demand. So I'll leave that one, and I'll also leave this one because just notice the words that are highlighted so you can look for them when you're going through the lecture. There are inferior goods and there are normal goods. And anyway, so and let's see this one. Okay. Yeah, these are other things about the factors that can cause shifts in certain directions. Okay. And okay, so let's do number 8 now. And how about Kimberly? How are you doing?
Hi, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So look at this one. It gives us demand and supply, and then it asks, what's the equilibrium quantity? What do you think? Can you see the equilibrium there?
It'd be like maybe 13.
Yeah, right. So the equilibrium is where demand and supply intersect, where they cross. And yeah, you nailed it. It's 13 is the equilibrium quantity. So let's go ahead and verify that that works out for us. And then we get this, right? But again, Ignithium doesn't know, it has to calculate because it's random. And there you go. Good job, Kimberly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So, and this is another one where we have to look at the factors that can shift supply and demand. And here's the last question. And how about Grace Hayashi? You here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So this one is kind of like number 8, but it says, what's the equilibrium price? What does it look like to you?
I think that would probably be around maybe 55, 56.
Yeah, it's so and here, like, notice this one. See, they're pretty close, right? But you can see there's the one that's in the middle, and guess what? If I really can't identify the equilibrium, I could always do this, get rid of supply, get rid of demand, and see how equilibrium is in green.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
the equilibrium point's left by itself.
Oh, cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So all of these, like I said before, you can like turn stuff off, and I would encourage you all, to play with it, because you can make it a lot easier, right? To focus on what's right. So it's 54.2, 54.2 or $54.20. And okay, and then we get this. And I'm going to copy it and paste it. And there. Okay, now look, this is a pretty good example, right? So it's 54.199, right? You could round it to 54.2, that's fine. But, in terms of scoring on your My Grades, you would see 54.2, and then you would see 54.19999, but you would be scored correct because you're within 1 penny, right? So even if you'd put in 54.18, 1 penny less than 54.19, that would be okay. So you just have to be within a penny. All right. So do you have any questions, Grace?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Because this is all that I planned to go with you guys today, go over with you guys today. And you guys have the playlist on YouTube, and you have your reading assignments. So you know, you know where we're going, and you can watch and read. So I'm just here for questions.